You watching this show right now, you expect your agent to be proactive. You expect them to advise you. Part of the renewal process at Riskwell, and probably the renewal process for a lot of good shops out there, is, hey, let's take a look at the values. Do we still feel like this is a good value for the house? Have you made improvements to the house? Have you added square footage? Did you swap out the linoleum floor for ceramic tile? Did you upgrade the appliances? Is there anything different that we need to know about for valuation? And that's just part of basic stewardship,
If I'm not a real estate, or if I'm not an insurance professional, how the hell am I supposed to start with a claim in mind when I don't know what type of claims are in this area?
Yeah, but think about it. You're not talking about a specific claim. Does it matter if it's a fire claim or a wind claim? If the house is knocked down or the house is destroyed, it doesn't matter what kind of claim it was. It comes back to what kind of house was it?
Right.
What's the value of the house, the rebuild value, not the market value.
But just to be, drama farming.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
What was that?
What was that little shimmy?
It was a little wiggle.
That little shimmy.
I'm getting a little farming.
I don't even know what that is,
I'm
man.
trying to cause some controversy. I want to get in
I
a
almost
fight
expect you to go like,
I want to get in a little scuffle with Mr. James Jenkins Riskwell. No, but like, okay, if there's a fire, okay, cool, I have a fire policy. Yeah, but was the fire start with a match or was it start with a lighter?
Man.
Like, insurance companies get all tricky dicky like that,
Look, here's the thing.
I mean, you know what I'm talking about, right?
I know.
And I'm exaggerating.
You're
but I'm
playing
just trying
devil's
to-
advocate,
Yeah.
and I get it. Most people don't have a high degree of trust with the insurance world because most agents and brokers don't act in a way that deserves a high degree of trust. They don't write the policy with the claim in mind. There's three kinds of valuation. We all know what they are intrinsically, but let me just run through them real quick. Market value, of course, is the easiest one. It's whatever someone's willing to pay for your property. The second one is the appraised value. It's whatever the county CAD says your property's worth. It's the basis for your property taxes. In the insurance world, it comes off a replacement cost, which is typically an analysis of the property. What's the square footage? What's the build grade? What's the quality index of the materials used? Do you have a 3-tab roof or an architectural shingle roof? You got standing seam aluminum, some kind of membrane? Like, what do you got? What are we dealing with here? That's the basis for the valuation on the policy. So part of what we do at Riskwell is, we ask people, what's your tolerance and what's your plan for the property? If this thing burns to the ground, are you going to rebuild it? Or are you going to take what you can from the insurance company, sell the dirt, and move on? Because the intentions, the goals, the operations of the investor dictate our posture as an advisor.
And a quick follow-up on that. When you talk about replacement costs, is that something that's just updated right then and there? Because, we talked about inflation, we talked about rising costs. If it's like a set number that's set January 1st, or is it always like an evolving type thing? Because, if on a spreadsheet it says, hey, it costs X dollars to replace this thing, but all of a sudden it's no longer X dollars, it's X times plus 20%.
Yep.
How is it always updated, or is it like an annual update type thing? And I don't even know if I'm asking the right question.
It's a great question to ask, honestly. And the way that we approach that is just the concept of stewardship. It is the investor, the client expects their agent. You watching this show right now, you expect your agent to be proactive. You expect them to advise you. Part of the renewal process at Riskwell, and probably the renewal process for a lot of good shops out there, is, hey, let's take a look at the values. Do we still feel like this is a good value for the house? Have you made improvements to the house? Have you added square footage? Did you swap out the linoleum floor for ceramic tile? Did you upgrade the appliances? Is there anything different that we need to know about for valuation? And that's just part of basic stewardship, The set it and forget it is a terrible idea for your insurance program. But
specifically in hyper appreciating markets.
Absolutely.
Because, that value may run way up, but you don't change that insurance policy.
Oh, God.
What?
Oh, I'm just thinking of a horror story where I didn't mean to cut you off,
No,
but I have the screamer of a deal, and all of a sudden appreciate it, and then oh God,
Well, Ron, we just recently went through this. So some houses in Garland that, I bought for $80,000, $90,000 that I insured for, $100,000 because the lender said this is the minimum. Now they're worth $350,000, and you look up and they're still insured for $100,000,
Yep.
and you're like, wait. Or even there's loss of rents coverage,
Yep.
and it's still at $1,000 a month instead of the $2,000 a month I'm getting now. So I'm literally underinsured by 50%.
Well,
Yep.
that's why I had the reaction. I didn't mean to audibly cut you off, but I just I just felt your pain immediately because I'm slow on most things, but sometimes I'm quick, and I was quick on
Well,
that
and the
one.
example I use, James, is that tornado that ripped through Rowlett a couple years ago.
Yep.
I had a buddy that had 2 houses next door to each other on the same street. That the next morning he had 2 slabs.
Yep.
Right? There were no more houses.
December 26th of 2015.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he was still insured from when he bought the houses for like 80, 90 grand. And it was the only choice he had was sell the dirt and move on
Yep.
because there was no money to rebuild them.
Right, because back then, it's only $20 a square foot to rebuild, but now it's $200 a square foot.
Well, and if you haven't had a full reevaluation of your insurance portfolio in the last 3 or 4 years, good God, you really have to, because post-COVID, think about supply chain. Materials are out of control. Labor is out of control with every contract from here to Timbuktu. Whatever your property was valued at 4 years ago, bump it by 30 or 40% minimum.
How often should they do that for a portfolio? Or just a
I'd say
single property?
once every 3 years, have a full reevaluation where you go top to bottom on the entire portfolio and make your insurance agent or broker earn their commission. Say, hey, I want to do a evaluation reset on this. Let's take a look and make sure we're not underinsured
Now,
anywhere.
is there a cost there, or is that just like, hey, you're my broker, do it?
Well, depends on the individual agent. At Riskwell, we have a broker fee built into every policy that is designed to make sure that we can be profitable with all the technology and the service that we deploy, the intellectual property, the resources that we deploy. It's all baked into the broker fee.